disaster must come. At best, only postponed. Shaolin Kung Fu, to survive, must now be taught to more young men.
Welcome once again to another episode of Fists, Kicks, and Flicks, the podcast about martial arts, movies, and life. I am one of your hosts, Eugene Plowden, and with me as always, my podcast partner this week, Joe Hartley.
What's going on, Gene?
No bugs this week. He's in Florida. He should be getting ready to come back. If this is your first time with us, I want you to know we are members of the Martial Arts Internet Network. On Mondays, you have Raw with Mimi and Lup. Tuesdays, CTE with Chris, Los, and Trav. Wednesdays is us, Fists, Kicks, and Flicks with Gene, Mike, Joe, and Angel. And on Thursdays, you can get the Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. For more information, check us out on all social media platforms. Just look for the Martial Arts Internet Network on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Joe, it's showtime. What's up, man?
Not much, man. Just enjoying the weekend. It's pretty warm over here for a change. No rain, all that fun stuff.
Right.
And get ready for some fireworks. You know, it's the 4th of July weekend. And gonna enjoy myself. Eat good, drink good, have some fun. How about you, man?
Yeah, man, everything's been pretty good, man. Pretty good. Just trying to relax a little bit, but I'm still staying busy at the same time. I was up last night editing my other podcast. I think I'm starting to get the hang of that. It's actually up and out right now for at least the first 2 episodes, and then the 3rd episode will be up tomorrow. So it's IDGAF. I got to change the name. Honestly, I got to add something to it because when I uploaded it to the distributor, I saw that there were other ones called IDGAF. So it's going to be IDGAF Unfiltered. So just look for that. And I'm going to promote it. I'm gonna promote it on Instagram and on Facebook, so people will have the correct. So you'll see the logo and you'll know this is the correct podcast to listen to if you want to listen to me talk some other shit.
I'm always down for that, man. Listen, that's all I do at work is listen. I listen to podcasts all night at work, and if I run out, I just try to find something new. So I'm always good for listening for some podcasts.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, man, it's wild. We got into a little heated argument on episode number 2. And then the episode that we did Friday, I record those on Fridays. It's a little long, but we don't care. We don't give a fuck. Like the name of the podcast, we just don't care. So
and that's what when you're first starting off like that, like even with all the podcasts here, everything's raw at first. You got to get your footing, and once you get your footing, you're okay. But that raw energy at the beginning, I think most podcasts go through that.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
So it's interesting to look at and start and see where people start and then see where they're at, 20, 30, 40 episodes in. It's cool.
Right.
I like that.
Yeah. So I'm actually, you know what, man? I'm kind of in a good mood because we did watch a horrible movie this week.
Oh, No More Three Ninjas. Yes, sir. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
How many times you watched this one?
Actually, I've only watched it once.
Oh, I watched it like 3 times. No,
I didn't. I have a chance to watch it more than once. I'm gonna tell you, man. Like I get up at 4:45 every morning, and I do my I do my cardio. So that's when I get up. I hit the steps. I do the steps, and then I do a HIIT workout, which is high intensity interval training. So I do a HIIT workout for about 25 minutes, and then I'll do another 10 minutes on the steps, right? And then later on, I will, do some weight training, either back and biceps or chest and triceps or shoulders and legs, and I'll do, 3 days, have a break, and then I'll do another 3 days. So I'm hitting every body part twice. So, a lot of times in the evening, I'm beat, from work, getting up early, working out, then going to work, then teaching my classes. My classes have just exploded. I did my count this week. I got 78 students now, and I was just
That's good though.
blown away, So taking care of that, then you come home, you do paperwork, you do all this other, type of stuff, and then you got to stay up on your marketing. So and promotion, so so I'd be tired at night, man. Come 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, I gotta cook dinner, and then I'm ready to crash. So lately I've been watching our movies on Fridays and Saturdays, and then we record on Sundays now. So I watched the movie on Friday, and then I tried to watch it again last night, but I was also editing the video my other podcast. So I didn't really get a chance to watch it twice, but I've seen this movie more than once.
I've seen this movie. I've seen this movie so many times, and I went and looked. The movie came out in 2000.
Yep,
that's the year I graduated. So I was just I think I was 19 when this movie came out. I just turned 19.
Okay,
because I think this came out in the summer of 2000.
Okay,
so I literally just graduated. Might have been right after prom or something like that. So I remember this movie. I remember the soundtrack. So I don't know if you had the soundtrack.
Yeah.
This was still back when CDs were still around. So I had that CD. It was a good soundtrack. I enjoyed this movie a lot.
It was. And I heard a lot of the music from the soundtrack that was actually in the movie.
Yeah.
Throughout them, especially when you have people like DMX and Aaliyah. Of course. Of course the soundtrack is going to be hot. So, so that was a nice soundtrack album. So I enjoyed the soundtrack. I enjoyed the movie. So it's not a lot to bash about this movie.
It really isn't.
No, it's not. There's a couple things that that made me raise my eyebrow, and I'm gonna bring that up, as we get into the movie. But other than that, it still didn't distract me from enjoying the movie,
No.
Okay. One good thing about doing this podcast, is when sometimes when you watch a movie, you just kind of zone out. You're just watching the movie. You're paying attention, but you're not really concentrating on the movie. You're just watching it and enjoying it. Well, when we watch these movies now, it forces us to really pay close attention to what it is we're watching, because we have to talk about it. We have to comment on it,
Mm-hmm.
So I understood this movie a little bit differently this time when I watched it, as opposed to the other times watching it.
Gene, I felt the same way. Being on this podcast, you guys are making me watch movies a lot differently. And I really realized it from Mortal Kombat.
Mm-hmm.
Like the new Mortal Kombat, I think I might have watched it differently had I not been watching it for the podcast. So it's so funny to me because
that's 100.
But I'm good with it because I enjoy it at the same time, but I'm okay picking things apart. Like I get it. Because you know what? I don't know about you, but I will go look up how a movie did in theaters, on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, I've never done that. That's not my
okay. So I like to do that, but I never agree with the critics. Like I want to know what it takes to be a critic because they're so negative on some of the dumbest things. I'm like, can't you just go watch a movie and just enjoy it for what it is? Like the stuff they pick apart sometimes is stuff that I don't care about.
Right.
And then when you look at the audience score, and I always pay attention to that a little bit more, but sometimes I don't agree with that either.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, I do watch these movies a little differently, but I feel like I'm not critical of it. I'm just looking for certain things to see, okay, do I like this? Do I like that? Do I not like this? Wherefore, I don't know what these critics like. I've looked at a movie that a critic said was good.
Mm-hmm.
It was the most garbage movie I've ever seen in my life.
You mean some of those movies, some of those movies that are up for Oscars that you never heard of?
Oh my God, my wife. So, okay, I'm going to tell you one, and you probably never even seen it, but I'll never, ever pick a movie that won a bunch of awards ever again. It was the Golden Globes, and they were all over this movie, and my wife watched the whole Golden Globes, and it's like, we're going to watch this movie. Lost in Translation. I'm telling you right now, it was the worst movie.
Tell me about
worst movie.
I think I've seen it.
I'm trying to think of it was I can't even remember who it was anymore. I think it was I can't even think, but the
Okay.
movie was so slow. The
Yeah, I
pace of the
remember
movie
that.
was slow. I was lost in
Lost in the
everything, not
movie.
just translation. And then there was no build up. There was no. It was just a movie that was just floating around in the ether to me, and it was just bad.
Bill
And it
Murray.
had good, yeah. It was Bill Murray and that whatever that girl, some chick, but oh, it got so many awards, and I told my wife, I was like, we're never picking a movie off an award show ever again. Like
Wow,
it was so.
You really couldn't stand that movie, huh?
It was Scarlett Johansson. See, it was and it
No.
had good people, and it got all these, and it was not good for me. And maybe a lot of people enjoyed it. It just wasn't for me.
But obviously, the right amount of people enjoyed it since it won awards. So
Yeah, but who's picking the Golden Globes? That's a group of.
I don't know. I don't know about any of that stuff.
Exactly. See, I like people choice awards, man. Let's let the people choose, not some, a bunch of bigwigs that are sitting in positions they probably didn't earn. They probably bought.
I got you. Well, let's get into the movie. Romeo Must Die. That's where. Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me get my movie all set up because I always have it playing in the background. So it stars Aaliyah and it stars Jet Li. Now, let me ask you this: is this the first movie that you saw Jet Li in?
Nope.
What was the first movie you saw him in?
Lethal Weapon 4.
Okay, that's the same with me. Okay, so I believe this is the second movie that I've seen him in.
This was the second one I seen him in, and then I started going back and looking up some of his older movies, and he's got some pretty good stuff like that he did back in his hometown, kind of like Jackie Chan and even Bruce Lee. All them, they have some of their older stuff. Some of it you can find dubbed, some of it you can find it's got subtitles. So,
are you a big subtitle person?
I'm okay with it. It depends on how I'm watching the movie. If I'm watching a movie in the background, obviously, like if I'm trying to do other things, yeah. But if I'm if I'm like into the movie, and then I can sit and watch it because I watch a lot of anime.
Okay.
And if you want to watch anime, like when it first comes out, you gotta watch it subtitle because the American version of anime, takes over a year. So if I'm gonna watch, the new Dragon Ball Z Super, like if I want to see it, it's out right away, subtitle. But then it takes another year before they even release it dubbed.
Yeah. So I'm not big on subtitles. I can't. I don't have the time to. I want to just sit and watch the movie. I just feel like I don't read real fast. So while I'm reading, stuff is going on the screen, and I want to be able to watch what's going on also. And I feel like if I'm reading, I'm missing what the actors are doing.
A subtitle movie. If we're going to review a subtitle movie, you can't you got to watch it 3 times minimum. You got to watch it to make sure you can pick it up.
Right. That makes sense. So when I saw Jet Li, actually in Lethal Weapon, I said, "Oh wow! Like I like him better than Jackie Chan." Because I just thought that his martial arts that he would do in the movie, I just thought it was a lot cooler than Jackie Chan. And something I saw with Jackie Chan was always silly and goofy and happy.
Yeah, 100%.
And Jet Li's movies and his action scenes are not. At least Lethal Weapon, he was a badass in Lethal Weapon, and in this one he was also. But it's just nothing silly about it.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
In fact, the only silly they really brought to this movie was
Anthony Anderson.
Yeah, Anthony Anderson.
Yeah, him and his crew. And this is my first movie of seeing Anthony Anderson. I remember that too. And I remember watching when they first came out, and I was thinking like, oh, this guy's gonna be a funny actor. Like, hopefully he gets a big break. And he's definitely done
good, and he's so good in everything he does.
Yeah, he's a versatile. Even though he's a funny actor, he is very versatile.
Very much so.
This was the first my introduction to him in this movie. One thing, there's my two main problems with this movie, right?
Okay.
Is the Jet Li fight scenes were fine. They were cool, but when they wanted to show him doing aerial stuff, I did not like how they did it. It looked maybe it's because of technology that was available back in 21 years ago. But I didn't like when they would have him do a jump kick and they'll have him kick one person over to the right and then he would do another kick over to the left. Well, it looked funny when they did it.
He was doing that. He was up on strings for sure, and he
Yeah.
was doing a lot. I think he had like 4, maybe 5 moments where they definitely had him up on some strings, and he was doing some, and it was unnecessary because he really
exactly
was pretty good on his own.
Yeah. But I just didn't like that. I was like, I would have rather them have just not had him do that particular move and have the scene look fake, as opposed to like they could have came up with some other type of move that could have been just as cool in that spot without that.
The other thing that they had already done that was different from other movies, and they didn't need the string act the string work is and I don't know if you liked it, but I liked when they brought the X-ray camera in and they showed like a bone breaking, they showed like something getting knocked out of place. I liked all that because I think they did that 3 or 4 times.
Yes, and I like they did not overdo it, but when they did it, it reminded me of Mortal Kombat when they did it, and I liked it.
100%.
It just reminded me of something that would happen in Mortal Kombat. But yeah, it was cool. So my other issue, which really is at the beginning of this movie, but there's there's 2 rival families, and the families are also gangs. Okay.
Yep.
They never said what their illegal activity was, and on both sides, like I don't know if they were just, drug dealers. I don't know if they were killers. Like, well, obviously they killed people, so there were some type of killers. But I don't know if they were hitmen. Like, I don't know what their primarily organized crime, what their business was. They never said. You just knew both families were on the opposite side of the law.
They did never ever say what the syndicate ideas were. That was just the current business was property front for the NFL team.
Yes. So we have one group of family gangsters were African Americans, and the other group were Chinese. I don't know if they were Chinese American or if they were just because I think the dad, he was from Hong Kong and he escaped. But I don't know if the other people that he recruited, if they were also from Hong Kong, or if they were already from here, or if his son was born here. I couldn't tell.
I gotta assume that the group that he brought with him, like the immediate group, might have came over from Hong Kong, and maybe they recruited when they got to America. I'm guessing.
Okay.
Because, and you know what, I don't know why I never picked up on this as many times as I've seen this movie. I never knew that Han, Jet Li's character, was a cop.
I didn't either. I didn't know that. This is the
first time that I picked up on that. And I read it in the synopsis at first, and then I started seeing little things that they were talking about. So he was a former cop, and he took the L so his dad and brother could escape.
Man, that's something, right?
For sure. But obviously, it wasn't that big a deal because, I mean, he escaped from prison pretty easily.
And that's exactly what I said. It was like he could have left at any time the way he did that. The way he broke out and handled all the different guards. And even the main guard that was at the front gate, like the alarm is going off. Someone is escaping. And I was thinking, like, well, you didn't see this guy come in here, but you're having this conversation with him. You know exactly what he looks like, and you're going to let him leave,
Okay, and here's the other thing. Like, okay, I work with a lot of people. Okay, on my shift, there's probably a good 600 people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't personally know everybody, but I know when there's a new person.
Exactly.
Okay, I know, like, there was 3 people the other day I've never seen in my life. They're new. They're brand new people. Okay, so you can't tell me that you're face to face with this guy and you don't at least say, oh, is this a new guy? Nice to meet you. He just acts like he knows this guy. Like, how do you not know who you work with.
Yeah.
That part bothers me a little bit.
And he's talking to him about gambling, and he even gave him money to go, gamble for him. Also, that was crazy. So the other issue that I wanted to talk about, which is at the very beginning of the movie, is they never said what the issues between the African American gang and the Chinese gang. They never said what the friction was between them because they said there was a war going on. But to me, they were working together to secure the property. So why would there have been a war between them?
Well, and I don't know how true this was, but Hans' buddy, his dad's basic, right hand man,
yes.
He said it was all about property front. He says because there was the property line was so close that they were all basically fighting for some of the same properties. But I mean, he could have been lying because this whole time he was we find out later what he was up to. So I think he was just trying to keep Han from asking too many questions.
Was his name? His name was Kai, right?
Yeah,
I believe his name was Kai. So. Now Han has a brother. His brother's name is Poe, and that's where this movie starts off. Poe goes into a nightclub, and it is owned by Silk, who is played by DMX, and this is a black club. So he walks in, and he's like in a VIP booth, and immediately there's problems. There's some guys come up to him, they want him to leave the place, right? They want him to leave the club, and they're talking to him about getting out. We don't know why he's at this point in time. We don't know why he's in this club. And then 2 cars of Chinese men come, and they come inside of the club. I would have thought if there was a war going on, the people at the front door, the bouncers, should have stopped them from ever coming in. And I'm talking about Poe also. Why did they even let him in? The club
I was wondering the same thing about that. How did he originally even get in?
Yeah, I didn't get that, but he was in there, and then they came in. And my second guess was, second question I had was, why? How did they know that he was even there? But the other Chinese guys, because obviously we find out later, I don't know what he was doing. They never really explained why this meeting was supposed to take place, who he was meeting. I know who he was meeting, but
Colin was meeting them because he had information.
Right. So he wouldn't have told anyone in the other Chinese men. He wouldn't have said anything to them about where he was going if he was going to have the secret meeting with Colin. And Colin is the son of Isaac, who is the leader of the African American gang.
Yeah, but my guess is that maybe someone had called the dad out of respect, saying, "Hey, you need to come get your boy. We don't know what he's doing here." But it's going to go down, and we're going to have to take care of this if you don't hurry up, come get him.
That is a possibility.
Because there was a lot of backdoor kind of dealings going on between both sides to make sure they got all their money from this deal that they were both trying to make. And, you don't find that out till later, but
right. Let's talk about that. So there's a deal going on. So there's a person who is trying to purchase an NFL franchise. What was that guy's name? Vincent. That was his name. Vincent.
Yep.
So he talks to Isaac, who is the leader of the African American gang, and then he talks to Hans' dad. Do you know his name? Let me look.
Chu. You know what? I'm not Chu. Yeah, Chu.
Okay. So this guy, Vincent, he wants to have the stadium off of a riverfront.
Yeah.
So he wants all of the property that's along this riverfront to be purchased and turned over to him, so he can build a new stadium. So that is the point. So both sides are going out and trying to get properties. I just didn't get it. No matter what, they both. It seems to me they both had a list of addresses that they had to go get.
They had to acquire these properties
by a certain time
from their own side. Yeah. So obviously the Chinese Cho and his people, they got no problem doing it real loud and messy.
Mm-hmm.
They're going through, they're shooting people, killing people. You don't want to sign? That's okay. I'm going to take your stuff. But Isaac is trying to go straight.
Yes.
You know, he's got his kids to worry about. His daughter kind of hates him already, so he's trying to go straight. But the problem is he put the wrong dude in charge.
Yeah. Kai. Now Kai does help Poe out because there's about to be a fight in this club with Poe and some of these black guys that's in the club. And then Kai tells Poe to leave, to get out of there. And he doesn't want to leave, but you know, he kind of figures he don't have a choice. He got to get out. And before he leaves, the guy that originally had a problem with him, he attacks him and beats this guy up, and then a big fight breaks out in this bar. And then we get to see Kai's martial arts skills, so we know that he's a badass also because of his techniques and how they even did the stuff with him on the string also. It just looked weird to me. It looked real funny.
That was kind of the thing during that 2000 era. A lot of Matrixy.
Yep.
You know, let's get in the air and do like 5 kicks before we drop and take people out. And I mean, I'm okay with some of it. You're like, yeah, I can get into it. But in this, they just really, you could tell that it looked out of place.
Yes, yeah. I'm quite sure if they remade this movie now, if they did that exact scene, I bet it would look a little bit more realistic. Actually, a lot more realistic.
Probably
than what this looks like. It just didn't look realistic. It looked fake. It looked cheesy, you know. But DMX comes. This is his club. He is Silk, and he has some guns. And he tells everybody to stop fighting, and he tells everyone, whoever's not black, to get out of the club. They don't belong there. So the Chinese guys all walk out. They leave. Kai and Poe have a conversation in the parking lot, and then he tells them to get the hell out of there. And then that's the last that we see of Poe. He drives off, and then we see Colin pull up. I was surprised that they didn't recognize each other when they passed right by each other.
They passed right by, but he probably didn't know Poe's car because he didn't really see who was in the car. He just saw the car.
I guess you're right. Yeah, I guess you're right. And then we just see Colin go into the club, and as Poe leaves. And you got anything else?
Not really. I mean, it would have been interesting to see what kind of meeting they would have had and what would happen from there. But, then it probably, things probably would have started making a little more sense earlier than later.
I just don't understand, like, because we find out later on that Poe has some addresses, right?
Yeah.
But I don't understand, like, what was going to be the purpose of the meeting? Like, he said, I guess he told Colin that he has a reason or a way to put it into the war, but I don't think that was explained. Like, what was it? I just saw addresses.
If I had to guess, maybe if they knew what the addresses they were trying to get on both sides, because maybe it was either that, like, okay, I got these addresses, you got these addresses. Now we know what's going on. Like, maybe they didn't know what was going on because nobody was filling anyone in about the NFL team to make the big bucks. Or maybe he realized that Kai and Mac were in cahoots, and he wanted to bring Colin up on that.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was.
Because once Poe became a problem, they dealt with him. And once Colin became a problem, they dealt with him. So my guess is they didn't want them telling anybody about that both the two sides working together, kind of.
To me, it kind of seemed like, I don't know if I agree with that 100%. Only because we find out that, so the next scene, Poe is dead. We see him hanging from a tree.
Yep.
Right.
And they purposely put him on the, was it the Chinese side?
No,
the black side?
He was on the black side.
Yeah, he was on the black side.
Yeah.
To make it look like that they did it. Yeah.
Yeah.
To make it look like they did it.
Right. So so we later on, let's just skip ahead a little bit. So we find out that this was done by the Chinese people. They killed their own. They killed Poe. And Chu knew that his son was going to die. So he even said like it was a necessary. He would have messed it up for us,
Yeah.
right? And I think that Colin dies also in the movie. I think Colin and Poe were going to die regardless, only to make it seem like they were killed because of the quote unquote war
Well,
between both sides.
they had to keep that feud going.
Mm-hmm. Oh man. So that's I don't understand how a father could let his son die. Now I know Isaac didn't do that with Colin, but
Okay,
with
but this is the same
Chew,
father that allowed his other son to go to jail for him.
yes, like that's crazy also. Just so he can escape, just so he can escape Hong Kong. Man, that's a ruthless dad, man. That's a ruthless dad.
It's
You
all about
know,
that money and that gangster life, man.
yeah. But he even asked fake. I don't understand. So we see Kai run up to him. Kai finds out somebody came to Kai and told Kai that Poe had been killed. He already knew that because he had it done. He goes and tells Chew that that Poe's dead, and then we see him tear up, and they make the scene look like it's a little sad, only to throw us off.
Of
You
course,
know,
they got to play their roles.
yeah. Now, the next scene we see Matt. We're introduced to Matt, and we see him with Isaac. Isaac is going to meet with this Victor guy about the team. I'm sorry about buying the team, and he's trying to check on his progress to see if he's gotten the properties that he's needed. This Victor guy, like to me, I just don't understand like why he just didn't divide up these properties and give one group to Chew and one group of properties to Isaac and say, okay, go get your properties and come back. Like, why let it be a freestyle for him and for them to? Because it didn't matter who got the properties. All he wanted was the properties. It didn't matter. Like, I don't think they got paid any more or less based upon how many properties they got.
But I think the one side was all black owned properties and the other side was Chinese owned. So they were kind of like, you deal with your people, you deal with your people, and let's make this work, and we'll all get paid.
And then some funny stuff was okay. So maybe they were probably trying to steal each other's properties also then, because if that's the case, because you got to remember the barbershop that was blown up.
Yeah.
That was a black barbershop. They got blown up, and we know Isaac did not do it.
I think Mac did that.
Yes, but he thought that
he
the
thought it was
Chinese did. Yeah, he thought the Chinese did it.
Well, they're making it look like retaliation for Poe.
Yeah, but he couldn't really say that. Mac wouldn't have been able to say that the Chinese did it. I think the Chinese really did it because he couldn't have come back with that property, because then Isaac would have been like, well, if the Chinese did it, why do you have the deed? So I think the Chinese people probably did it.
I never thought of it that way, but
yeah, because I mean, even still, they even went after
maybe it left it up for.
They even went after DMX's club.
Yeah, maybe it went up for like auction or something like that. So it went to the highest bidder.
Yeah, so that was something. That was interesting. The next scene we see is Jet Li in prison, and it's the scene that we just talked about a little while ago when he breaks out. Someone comes up to him and tells him that his brother had just been murdered, and then he breaks out of this prison in Hong Kong.
His whole demeanor changes. He's like he's starting stuff with the guards.
Yeah,
he gets and what I'm curious now about this prison, okay? Because they beat the crap out of him. They drag him to a room, and they're gonna hang him up by his foot.
Yeah,
they're gonna hang him up by his foot, and then what was gonna happen after that?
I thought they were just gonna beat him.
That's what I was thinking. Like what was about to happen in that room?
Yeah, well, he handled it.
Don't mess up in Hong Kong, man. Dang.
Yeah. And he gets loose, and he ends up escaping. And I was like, well, how did he get money to come to America? I didn't because his dad was gone. It's not like it was a bank account for him. If he was in prison, the accounts would have been frozen or something. So he wouldn't have
Yeah,
had
that's what I
access.
said.
So he wouldn't have had access to money. The only money he should have actually had was whatever that one guard gave him to go place a bet.
Maybe he really placed that bet.
Maybe he placed that bet.
He took off his money and homeboy's money.
Yeah. And then I guess, he ends up coming to America, but I'm like, well, did he stow away on a freighter? Or, how did he get off of Hong Kong? How did he get out of there?
And that's the other thing. Like, if you're in escape prison, how are you getting on a plane?
I don't understand how you getting out of anywhere because like that was a badass escape. So that would have been on the news everywhere. And they would have known who they're looking for. So his picture, his face would have been anywhere. Well, maybe he knows how his dad and his brother escaped Hong Kong, and maybe he found a way to escape just like them.
Yeah, they kind of skipped over that whole thing.
Yeah,
they just said, we just got to get you to America. Let's not worry about the rest of that
stuff. Let's not worry about how you're just there. Don't worry about it. And now the next thing, we get introduced to Aaliyah. Now, we see Aaliyah because word gets back to Isaac that Chu's son has been killed. Now, Isaac is not cool with that because now he's thinking like, okay, so Chu is probably going to retaliate against us. So, let's make sure that my kids are okay. So Colin and Aaliyah, her name is Trish in the movie. He wants to make sure that his kids are protected. So he has Mac put security. Well, he didn't really. We didn't really see security go around Colin, but we saw security be set up for Trish, and then that is Anthony Anderson's character named Maurice. Now with Colin, maybe it's because Colin kind of already works for his dad.
I was gonna say Colin thinks he's a badass, so
Yeah, he's not really one.
Dad, and
he's really one of those he's really one of those wannabe kids, and we've seen people like that. You're not really a badass, but you're trying to portray a badass, and now you want respect because you feel like people don't really respect you as being a badass because of who your father is, So
well, and why would they? Because let's take a look. Colin and Mac. Mac's gangster is way higher than Colin.
Yeah.
Sorry, Colin, but just stay with Daddy and don't worry about it.
Yeah. So Trish leaves out of her store. She owns a little boutique, and she leaves out. She's trying to go to get some albums. She's gonna go pick up some records. The old ones, not even CDs. She's gonna get records. And Maurice approaches her and lets her know, like, look, I'm your security. I have to go everywhere you go. I have to take you everywhere. She does not want to go. She's trying to fight against it. But he's like, look, we either gonna do this the easy way or the hard way. You have no choice. I have to protect you.
Of course.
Reluctantly, she goes with him, and he drives her to the record store. She goes in to get some records. Now he's distracted. He's trying to flirt with this woman.
And he's just acting a fool, and I love it.
Yeah, that was funny. He's acting a fool, and when she gets the opportunity, she slips out. And once he notices that she's gone, he runs out after her, and she jumps in a cab. Now this cab is being stolen by Han, Jet Li's character, and this guy, he does not know how to drive. He's horrible.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
And he's trying to get her to think his name is Akbar. Come on.
Yes, Akbar. Like she's calling him Akbar, but I was thinking, like, are you not paying attention to his picture?
She knew he was not Akbar.
Yeah,
she said it right at the end. She was like,
yeah. You steal cabs often, and he steals this cab, and Anthony Anderson comes out. So now he knows that she's hiding from Maurice. She tells him, like, look, just drive, just get me out of here. She doesn't really want to tell him why she wants to get away. She just wants to get away. And he takes her into work, and that's pretty much it between them. But he does recognize where he took her. and that's going to come back up a little later in the movie. Anything about that scene? You got anything else to say?
It's so funny because they really try to get this connection between the two of them right off the bat. Because she interacts with him. She tells him about his driving his shit and and this and that, and smiling at him, and she's not going to tell on him for being, he's like the worst carjacker and all that.
He's
and
actually a criminal. He is a criminal.
Yeah, he's like, you know what though, I'm really a good guy, and he won't take her money. So I just thought it was a little forced at the beginning. Like they did kind of have some good chemistry later on in the movie, but to me, like that whole scene was just like they were trying to force it a little bit.
I'm glad that they didn't make them have a romantic relationship. Because a lot of times in movies, they would, the writers, producers, directors, they will put those two characters together and make them.
Okay, but they kind of did because the movie is Romeo Must Die, right? And he was kind of like playing that Romeo. But to me, like
everybody thought they didn't know. None of the black guys knew. The black guys thought that he was trying to make the moves on Trish. That's not what he was doing, though. He was just trying to get his brother's murder.
I know, but in this whole thing, he does end up doing a lot to help her out.
Yeah, I mean, because
at the end, he could have at least got. I mean, I'm just saying, at the end, he could have at least got a little something.
Yeah,
help my man Jet Li out.
But if in this day and time, like they would have. Like now, this was made. They would have had them kiss. They would have had probably a sex scene between them, and at the end of the movie, they would have been together.
Oh, you know what though? You know what I didn't think about this. You know who was probably in the background while they were taping this?
Who?
Was she married to R. Kelly at this point?
No. She wasn't.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. I know. At this point in time, she was with Damon Dash. At this point, when she was doing this movie around this time.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say okay.
Yeah, this movie came out about a year before she passed. Yeah. Yep. So, because she passed away in 2001. This came out in 2000. So, no, she was with R. Kelly in the early to mid 90s.
Yeah, I know. That was just creepier because she was like 15.
Yes, she was a baby. But we're not about to get off on that. That talk. That's a talk for my other show. So if you ever want to come on that show, you can come on that show and talk. We can talk about R. Kelly.
Oh, we can wild out. We can wild out.
Yeah, for sure. Now, let me back my screen up just a little bit because there was something that I wanted to talk about. So Han goes to no. So Trish, she goes back to her store, and she sees her brother. She sees Colin, and he's there on the phone. He's talking to his dad. This is something that Trish does not like.
Of course not.
It's because she knows that her dad and brother are into illegal things, and she does not want trouble coming to her store. So she tells him, stop doing that. Stop making calls from my store. She probably didn't even want him even in the store.
Of course.
Yeah. So, now the reason why that's important is because in the next scene we see Han, he is in his brother's place and he's looking around for just something. He's just trying to find something to help him find out what happened to his brother.
For someone who, to me, has never been to America, he gets around pretty well and knows. He just seems to just know where everything is.
Wow, I didn't even think about that either.
I've always thought about that as many times as I've watched this movie, but I'm just like, bro, how he just knows where everything is.
And maybe his brother and his dad have been sending him letters and pictures and things like
I
this.
guess.
Maybe that's why he knows where everything is.
Well, you know what? He was a cop, so maybe he's using detective skills or something.
Probably so, but I tell you what, man, like if something happened to Trav in Italy, like what am I going to do? Like, how can I go to Italy and find out where the hell he is? Like, Italy is a big place,
Oh,
so
yeah.
how can I find out where he is or where he was and what happened? I mean, it's movies, we just have to, we just have to suspend reality for a minute. But he's in his brother's apartment, He's looking around for just anything. And it was real smart that he looked at the telephone and just hit redial.
Yep.
And he saw the last number that was called, and he called that number, and it was the store it was Trisha's store. So he now knows that, he called someone at that location, which is something that cannot happen now because
No.
we have cell phones, right? And a lot of people have locks on their cell phones. So you're not going to be able to do what happened in this scene here nowadays. We also see that the basketball. I felt like they could have just cut this out. Like they didn't even need to actually have this part of the movie.
They were trying to show some kind of sentimental value between his brother and him.
Yeah, so something happened. I don't even know if we found out what happened. We just know him and his brother were in the water, and there was a basketball in the water. They held onto the basketball to keep them afloat, and they used that to keep them up as they swam back to Hong Kong. But like they never said like why they were in the water, what happened, if they were in a boat that tipped over. Like nothing was explained.
Yeah.
So we see him reminisce about that, and we see that, and we see the basketball. But we really never saw nothing else ever came of that. We never saw nothing else later on.
And was that you would think that if they were in the lake that it wouldn't, or in the water, that it wouldn't be to go to Hong Kong, that it would be to go to America. But then that would make no sense because he was in Hong Kong and they were in America. So I mean, yeah, there's nothing about that makes sense.
Yeah, I just felt like that could have been something that could have been edited out of the movie. It seemed like Trish kind of got used to being followed around a little bit because we see her at a restaurant, and we also see Maurice. Now he's not sitting at the table with her. He's at the bar watching her while she has lunch, and then Matt comes in to talk to Trish and lets her know, like, look, don't try and get rid of security. Like, shit's real right now, and things are important. Like, you need to be protected. She didn't really understood the severity of what was going on at that particular time.
She didn't care. She don't want no part of it.
Yeah, she really didn't. They probably should explain to her, like, look, it's a war. It's a war going on right now between us and the Chinese. And the son of Chu was murdered. So your dad wants to make sure that you and your brother gonna be okay. They should have said that. The
funny thing is, at no point in time, the only Chinese that was ever interacting with her was Han.
Yep.
Nobody from the gang side even really paid her any attention.
Nope.
The only other time she was in trouble was with Mac.
Wow,
that's the crazy part. That's the funny part to me.
Yeah, I wonder now there was an issue between Mac and Colin that really didn't get explained either. Because we see Colin talking to his dad, and his dad tells him, "Hey, look, when you got that phone call from Chu's boy, you should have told me about that."
Yep.
So we see them talking, and Isaac tells Colin that he is working on something big, something's going to set up, him and his daughter, Trish. And then Matt comes in, and then Colin leaves. But you could see that there's some type of friction between them. I don't think that was ever explained either.
Well, he's mentioned something about the way he was talking to his sister.
Oh, he did? Okay, I missed that.
Yeah, he did. He just kind of mentioned it. But Colin, I think without his dad's backing, he never would have stepped to Mac. Mac would punk him so hard.
Yeah. he would have slapped him and beat him up and would have handled him pretty easily.
Yeah, he's that dude that's going to be standing behind his bodyguard going, you want something? No.
Right. Yeah, he's actually the opposite of Poe, because Poe was Chu's son, but Poe seemed like he was a badass and could have took care of himself.
Oh, like, Poe he gave zero fucks, man. He didn't down with it.
Yeah. He wasn't worried about Kai at all.
Not one bit.
Yeah, not one bit. Now, so we see Han. He goes back to the store, he follows Trish because he knows that his brother last contacted her store, so he wants to know who she called. So he followed her to her apartment. He goes into her apartment. He talks to her, and then she doesn't know. She said she doesn't know his brother, and then she remembered that her brother has been in the store and placing calls. So they kind of put two and two together. So he wants her to talk to her brother.
I like this whole scene because the way he tried to get out of that gang, because she told him to go out the window.
Yeah, and he was like, no.
He's too cocky for that. So he takes a couple dollars out, acts like he's a delivery guy, and he starts leaving. And they're like looking around like, and of course, the big guy, Maurice, he's like, where's the food?
Yeah.
And he's going, I don't smell no food. Oh, you hungry, baby? I love that because that was so funny.
Yeah, you got to think like, of course, he's not worried about these guys because he just beat the shit out of these security guards at a prison.
Exactly.
Damn sure not worried about these.
But the other thing I like about this, so there's a scene where he was at the store buying all this stuff. And so in this scene, this fight scene, I like when he's using the zip ties.
Yeah,
that's why I kept saying there was so much about this movie. They didn't need the string tricks.
Yeah, exactly.
They didn't need it because the fight scene where he was zip tying people and tying them up, and he was taking apart guns, and he was, he come up and swung around the balcony and kicked the guy. I mean, he did not need the string tricks.
No, he didn't. I mean, this would have been just as sweet, without it. Because he beat these guys up easily. He had
no problem at all.
And it probably surprised the hell out of them also, because they were probably thinking like, "Oh, just one Chinese guy, like we can handle it." No, can't.
He beat the crap out of them. Then he took their ride.
Yeah, then they took their and said, "Oh, he loves this country, like free cars." And Trish, she came there at the tail end, but she saw the guys beat up. And she saw him walk away, and he threw the gun away. I was surprised, like, why he didn't want to keep that for some type of security, but I guess he's like, I don't need it.
He ain't worried about guns.
So he instantly impressed Trish when she saw that he just beat up 3 of her dad's guys. Now, we also see that Chu is having a meeting with the Chinese mafia. That's what it looked like he's part of some type of commission or whatever. What was going on with them? Were they part of his deal also with the NFL?
Well, they thought they had some kind of deal, but he flipped that on them.
Yeah, he did. He got rid of those guys.
He said there's going to be an attack, and they said, "Oh, I'm glad you told us." And he said, "When? Right now." Boom. Dead.
Also, we see Poe's funeral, and then Han comes to it. His dad and Kai.
Kai.
We see him. He hadn't seen him in a long time. And I guess Kai must have escaped from Hong Kong because him and Han knew each other.
Yeah, they seemed like buddies.
Yeah, they did. They seemed like friends, and they sparred. They did some light sparring with each other. So you can see that both of them were good martial artists. When I saw this scene originally, I thought, okay, they're going to fight at the end because there has to be a big villain at the end. And there's nobody on the black side that I could have saw fighting with Han, like a one-on-one, because they never showed Mac actually doing any real fighting. We just knew he was a gangster, but they never really showed him doing anything. And they're constantly showing us how much a badass Han is and Kai. So I knew at that point when I saw them sparring that, okay, there's going to be a conflict because right now they're sparring and it seemed like a tie. There's going to be something that happens at the end. So this scene kind of spoiled it for me when I first saw it. And then I remember that same feeling when I saw it again this time.
Yeah.
All right. Now, Han obviously he doesn't care about this war because he's still thinking that he can get some information out of Trish. And he meets up with her at a park and the fellas are there. This time Mac is there and they're playing football. This was my favorite scene.
Mine
the
too.
first time
100%.
I seen it, from the
This
first
has
time I seen
always
it
been
through the
my
sign.
favorite scene. This has always
Yeah,
been my favorite scene.
yeah. So Max sees Han. He goes over to him and tells him to come play football with the rest of us. And the first few snaps, he just gets wiped out. And
He
Maurice and
said,
some other guys,
let's give him the most special.
yeah, those guys remembered him. They knew him from before when he beat them all up. So now it's payback for them. And like I said, the first two plays, they got him. And then the next play, he already knew what they were trying to do, so he just pretty much
Well, he was smart because he asked Mac. He said, "Well, how come I'm the only one getting hit? You the one with the ball."
right,
He's like, "Oh, okay, I got something for y'all."
right, and he's drop kicking him. He is fighting as he's playing football and running down the field.
But he's
And
throwing the ball. He's throwing the ball so he can hit people.
yes, yeah, that was hilarious. Also, they never showed him hit Mac though, did he? No, he never hit Mac.
Mac was on his team. Mac was the one, on his team.
Yeah, quote unquote, yeah. But man, everybody else, they got it. They got it bad too.
And the kids were loving it.
Yeah, yes, the kids were. They were. Oh, you know what, man? To me, I got kind of confused by her business because I thought it was like a clothing store, but I saw kids in the back dancing. So I don't understand like what her store is. So what they did, like what was the
it was
purpose?
supposed to be like a modern day little hangout kind of thing. Get you some coffee, buy you some clothes. Just a little hangout, keep kids out of trouble.
Okay, so some of those kids, because she was giving them ice cream, so some of those kids were there, and like you said, they really enjoyed it, and they were like, "Wow!" So instantly, I thought, "Well, shit! Like he could open up a karate school. He already has some students that I'm quite sure they will be interested from Trisha's store.
There you go.
He could have had a legit business." So the next thing we have Colin. Colin is at his apartment with his girlfriend. They're talking. He's talking about wanting respect, and that's when someone shows up and throws him and his girlfriend out of the window. Now, of course, we find out that that was Matt who did that, which was unfortunate. Like Isaac was pissed when he found out that his son now had been murdered, and he immediately thought that the Chinese had did it.
100%.
And Mac tells him that he's going to find out who did it, and he's going to take care of it. Back at Poe's place where Han is staying there, someone has broken in and torn the place apart. Someone had been there. We don't know who it was. I really don't. I don't know if if that was done.
What was going on with that. They were looking for something.
Yeah, they were looking for something, but what could they have been looking for?
I don't know. That never made sense to me because even when Han found the list, okay, they already knew that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that never made that I didn't get that because so he saw that his brother had a car, so he got the keys. He found the keys. He went down to the garage and he found his brother's car. He's looking around. All they really found was the cane, right?
Yep.
And he unscrewed it and he saw that there was a list of addresses. But still, like to me, like they already knew that they had to have these addresses. So I didn't understand that part.
Yeah, I'd have to go and maybe it makes sense somewhere, but I have no idea.
Yeah, I didn't get it. When he comes back upstairs, Trish is there and she's crying. And then she tells him a story about her brother. So now Trish lets Han know that now her brother has also been murdered. So now they have a common issue.
Yep.
They decided they're both together. They're going to go to one of the addresses. When they get to this address, it's one of the Chinese business owners. They get there, and people have already been killed. Han realizes that these people they were just here. They just did this murder. And he ends up fighting with them, and one of the people he ends up taking their mask off, and now he sees that it's a Chinese person. So now he knows the Chinese are killing Chinese people, and it's not the black gang that's doing it. So now he knows that this war has been manufactured. It's fake. It's a fake war.
That scene was a little funny to me because when he realized she was a girl, he's like, I can't hit her. So he starts using Trish to hit her.
Yeah,
that was pretty fun.
It was fun, but it was ridiculous at the same time because like he's using her fist to punch the girl, and he's grabbing her leg but swinging her at I just like
how he goes like to hit her, and then he's like, I can't hit a girl.
Yeah.
She goes, I don't know what it's like where you're from, but here in America, if someone whooping your ass, you can hit them.
Right. And I feel that too, man. Like I wouldn't there's no rules when it comes to being a gangster or a thug. There's just no rules. You got to do what you got to do. Han goes back and he tells his dad when he found out that it was actually Chinese people doing it. His dad already
knew.
He already knew anyway. Anything else, man?
No, let's get to the where they go to the Silks Club, right? Because they realize that's where Poe was. Well, and that's the last one on the list.
Well, also, Isaac also does. He wants to protect Trish also, so he ends up taking her, and it seems like their old family house. He moves her into, because she goes to her bedroom, or it might have been Isaac's house. I don't know. It just seemed it seemed like they drove away. Isaac is there, and they're having a sentimental moment. They're talking about different things, and then Han shows up. He ends up following them when they took Trish away. He ends up following him.
He should have been dead so many times.
He should have been found because every time Isaac walked in, he would hide behind the door. Nobody, Isaac never fully came all the way into the room and saw it. But he wants Trish to go with him to the last location that's on the list that he has. They want her to stay there. They don't want her to go anywhere. They say it's too dangerous, especially with Colin being killed. So Maurice is going to watch her. Maurice, she turns on some music, and her and Han end up leaving. Maurice thinks that they're there. He comes upstairs to give her some food. She's gone.
Sucks at his job.
But honestly, man, that would have been the same for anybody, right? That would have been the case for anybody. He finds out that she leaves. He runs out of the room. Now they end up going to Silk's place because it was the last location that hadn't been taken over by either the black gang or the Chinese gang.
Yeah.
I was wondering why was Silk so surprised to see her there dancing, because he was like,
he wasn't surprised to see her. He was surprised she was dancing with him.
Oh, I didn't think. Okay, that's right.
No, they were freaking out because of that.
Okay, I got it. I thought that he was just saying that because she was in the club. I didn't even put that together. When I saw that.
He was like, no, what is happening? That's why he called her up and said, what the heck? But they were explaining to him what was going on.
Yeah.
But it was too late.
Yeah, because your boy came in there, Kai, and he ends up shooting and killing DMX. He ends up killing Silk.
Not Kai, Mac.
Oh, yes. That's my bad. Mac. That's right. That was Mac. He ends up coming.
That's when they realized this stuff's all going haywire.
Yeah. So they end up killing him. He ends up taking over the club. And they ended up kidnapping Kai also because they were talking.
Not Kai, Trish.
I mean, not Trish. Yes, they ended up kidnapping Trish. But they were end up talking to Han also.
Yep.
About what was going on. Because I remember him and Anthony Anderson, they're sitting in the office talking. Maurice. I couldn't tell where they were at. I thought they were in the club still, but I couldn't really tell.
It was like a warehouse or something.
Yeah. And then a fight breaks out between them. And this is pretty much the end of the movie at this point in time. So it's just one big long fight scene. And then stuff gets revealed.
I heard an interview with Anthony Anderson about this fight scene.
Uh-huh.
So he took it upon himself to kind of like make this his scene because he got sick and tired of getting his butt kicked the whole movie.
Yeah.
So there's a part where he has Jet Li in a bear hug.
Okay.
And he said he actually tried to crush him, and he actually broke one of his ribs.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, because he was just like he was getting into it a little too much. So he just wanted to say, "Hey, like, quit kicking my butt the whole movie." I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny how he ended up getting rid of Maurice because this thing where he ends up falling out of a window and he's holding on to Maurice, and he knows that he can't pull himself up. Maurice is right there, and the only way to go is down. So he pulls Maurice out of the window and makes him land on top of a car, and he lands on top of Maurice.
It says,
and I was thinking like he should have been dead too. Maurice should have been dead.
The funny thing is, he calls Maurice a meatball, and he's still talking crap while he's dying.
Right.
The name's Maurice, bitch.
Now Victor is meeting with Chu. He ends up giving him money because he turned in these to all of the properties. So he has his money and he leaves. And as he's leaving, Isaac is arriving with his crew, and they're going to do the same thing. They're going to turn over the deeds to all of the properties that they got in exchange for money. Victor writes him out a check for $38 million, and he gives it right back to him. Says that he doesn't want it. He wants to be a part owner of this NFL team. And then I thought, like, that's some boss right there. Because
he wasn't playing, man, and he gangster, so he's not playing.
Yeah, but even now, like $38 million is nothing. That's not going to help get you being a partner. You need a lot more than $38 million. But he's like, I got the deeds. So like, you're not going to get a franchise either. So he actually had Victor in an uncomfortable position for him. So now Mac was pissed. Mac thought they were about to get some real money right now. Mac is not interested. To me, it didn't seem like he was interested in going legit.
Mac had no something was up because he had some contingencies set in place.
Right. So Mac wanted Isaac to take the money, so he can get the money. And then, like he said, he knew something was funny. He had the boys bring in Trish. So now he's holding Trish ransom because he doesn't care about being an NFL owner. Like he really didn't have, like I said, he doesn't have any interest in being legit at all.
He likes things just the way they are.
Yeah. Then a fight breaks out. These guys are all shooting at each other. But Victor's guys also, they have guns also.
That one got me because Victor's, is he gangster too or what?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. But I mean, he had to have been the way he was talking to Isaac and the way he was talking to Chu. Like he was the man, So I assume like he was just just as much gangster as them. Yeah. Isaac ends up getting shot also, and he's hurt, and he's on the ground. He ends up taking out a couple of his own guys that were rolling with Mac. Victor gets the case. He's trying to get away. He's just going to run away with the deeds. Him and Mac end up having a shootout on the roof.
He drops the briefcase.
Yeah, he drops the briefcase. And then Trish is there also. And Trish gets the gun, and she ends up shooting Mac and killing him. So he's done.
What kind of gun was that made him? He fell back about 10 feet from that second shot. That was crazy to me. I'm like, that wasn't even a shotgun. That wasn't even that big of a gun. He was like, he fell back 10 feet to go over that cliff.
And she wasn't.
That was a little crazy.
Like normally when you see someone who's not really a gangster in a movie and they shoot somebody, like they're kind of traumatized or surprised that they actually had to kill somebody. But she just kind of just like, all right, I killed them. Let me go and see about daddy. she goes back. Han is there.
Wait. We found out before she shot Mac.
Oh yes,
Mac told Han.
Yeah.
That the whole thing with his brother that was inside.
Yeah,
that was his own people.
Yeah.
So now Han's pissed.
Yeah.
Now he's got to go back home and take care of some business.
Well, before he does that, he goes back with Trish to check on. He goes back and checks on Isaac. Isaac is alive. He's not dead. But he's okay. Like I said, like some reason, like this is the first time he's even meeting Han.
Yep.
And I guess he kind of gives him his blessing to be around or whatever. As he's laying on the ground shot, Han looks a little sad, that he's been shot. But like you said, then he found out that his dad and Kai are involved in his brother's death. So he's going home. As he goes back, he is confronted with Kai, and him and Kai, they have the fight like I spoke about earlier. So we see this was a pretty cool fight scene. I don't really have anything. I don't have anything to knock about this fight scene. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, I really did too.
Yeah. So he ends up beating Kai, and then
Kai's a cheater.
Yeah. Well, I mean, aren't most villains main
villains?
Yeah,
but he was getting his butt kicked, and then he's like, I'm gonna have to kick this fire at you. Come on.
Yeah.
He deserved everything he got.
Yeah. So he ends up killing him. And then he goes to see his dad. Now originally I thought he was gonna kill his dad, but he doesn't. He makes his dad do it, And he really his dad didn't really have a choice. Because either you were going to jail, he wasn't Han wasn't gonna take the fall for him again.
But they made you think for a second that he shot Han first.
Yeah.
Because they were sneaky about that.
Yeah.
Because he stopped.
Yeah.
And I go, oh, come on. He didn't shoot him in the back. But no, he shot himself.
Yeah. But it was either that or he was going to have to deal with the Chinese mafia. Like what would you have done? Like he was not going to be safe anywhere, because if he went to prison, the Chinese mafia would have just got to him just as easy.
Yeah.
So he either was going to have to be on the run, and if he would have been on the run, he would have had to have been someone who was low key, because he would have got dealt with at some point in time.
Yeah, he burned all his bridges. He burned them in America, Hong Kong. He would have to go to Mexico or something.
Yeah, exactly. So, and like I said, he would have had to be low key, So, like you said, man, his dad ends up killing himself, and that is the end of it.
He sees Trish. They play the music. They give each other a hug. You don't get no nookie or nothing.
No, not at all, man. And that's the end of the movie, man. So, like I said, I enjoyed the movie a lot, man.
Yeah, as far as grades go, I want to give this one a, but I'm gonna give it a B+ because there still was some things to complain about. There's room for growth, and it's not quite an A, but I'll give it a B+, no problem.
It's the closest thing to an A that we've seen in quite a while, man.
Quite for sure,
a while.
100%.
Oh, yeah, so I would agree. Also, I give it a B+. I was thinking A-, but we did have some things to pick apart about it, but it really wasn't serious. It wasn't that bad.
I know what's coming with the rest of these movies, and I enjoy all of them, and I still enjoy this one. So I've just given some room for, where I pick my A's and my B's. So.
Okay, so the next movie we're going to watch is one that I don't think I've ever seen before. It's Kiss of the Dragon. Now that's another Jet Li movie, right?
It is another Jet Li movie.
Okay, yeah, I think we're doing a string of Jet Li movies is what Books had put.
And so, because you've never seen this one, this one has some unique aspects to it that you'll enjoy. Okay. And so there's it's a very good storytelling. It's got like I said, some unique things to it, so you'll enjoy it.
Okay, so I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, what about the stunts? Like, how old is this movie? So is this going to be something that throws me off? or
this might be still early 2000s.
okay. But that's
Let me
that
look.
doesn't mean it's a bad thing. I just want to know like what to expect as far as stunt wise.
I haven't seen it in a while, so this is right after this. So this is 2001.
Okay. Well, hopefully some of the string acrobatics, martial arts doesn't throw me off too bad. Hopefully I can still enjoy it.
No, it's I don't. Yeah, I think there still is a few. I might watch it tonight just to see. But yeah, there's it's a good movie.
Okay, cool. I'm definitely interested. And then after that, we got Cradle to the Grave and then War. Those are our next few movies. So all Jet Li centered. So those should be pretty interesting. I've seen Cradle to the Grave, but I have not seen War. So Kiss of the Dragon and War are going to be new for me. All right,
good.
Cool.
Hope you enjoyed them.
All right, man. It's the 4th of July. Let's go eat some barbecue. Well, you know, I'm plant-based, so I won't. But my dad is barbecuing some plant-based hamburgers and sausages for me, so that's what I got.
Very nice.
And of course, I'm gonna get some. Make sure I get my vegetables, get some greens in there also. So I know. I know your meals are gonna be a lot more fun than mine.
Oh yeah, my wife's making all the desserts for today and the snacks. My mom's doing I think she said like fried chicken and God only knows what else. So yeah, it'll be a good time.
It's been a year right now since the last time I've had barbecue ribs. I haven't had any barbecue ribs. This would be a year for me. So at least I can smell it. Smells good. But I'm not having any ribs. I'm not having any chicken. So for those of you that do, enjoy yourself. Don't eat too much. Make sure you still get your workouts in, especially for the martial artists. Make sure you guys get up in the morning. Most of you guys won't have to work. I'm not sure if you guys are going to open up your schools or not, but still make sure you guys get some training in. You got anything else, man?
You know what? Just download, subscribe, tell a friend. Let's do it.
That's right. Make sure that you check out. Make sure that you guys. This is Wednesday that you're listening to this, so make sure that you check out Raw. Make sure you check out CTE, and make sure you check out Inside Scoop, and then also make sure you check out my other podcast, the IDGAF Unfiltered Podcast. Yeah, that's a fun one. It's a wild one. It's definitely explicit. So enjoy that. Give me some feedback. Let me know what you guys think of that podcast also. All right, enjoy the rest of this week. Stay safe, stay strong, and we will holler at you guys next week. Director, play my music.
Disaster must come. At best, only postponed. Shaolin Kung Fu, to survive, must now be taught to more young men.